Some through-hull fittings that need a closer look, I'll have to figure out how to get in there. I had this 1-inch rubber tubing left over from the old boat. I'm cutting it into 4 different pieces and putting holes near the ends for little tie lines. The idea is to slip it over mooring lines or dock lines and use it to protect the line from chafing. This is an example of an anode. There should be at least 3 on this boat. The one shown here is the kind that goes in the engine heat exchanger. When metal is against water, you can get electrolysis, which starts to eat away at the metal. This is designed so that this little piece of sacrificial metal goes first before anything important. So there should be one in the engine heat exchanger, there should be one in the water tank to protect the water tank lining, and there's one on the propeller shaft, which is a very different shape. It clamps on the outside of the shaft, but they all serve the same purpose. This is an example of why I almost never leave my car windows open. If I had left the window open, I would have lost this round to the birds. On this side, came close, but we're okay. Never did like sunroofs. I only usually open them at night. I guess they're moon roofs. So yesterday I was contacted by a guy that I haven't seen in a while. We worked together in the mid to late 90s. Late 90s. He was my boss. Good guy. He's one of the bosses I still speak to. So he was my boss at that time, and we've still kept in contact. We get along very well. Anyway, he sold his boat a couple of years back, and said he had a bunch of supplies that were left over that has just been taking up room in his basement. And he sent me a bunch of pictures, and I asked him for a price on some of those things, because some of it was DC marine grade electrical wire, which I was soon going to go out and buy some. So if he has enough to do my projects, then that would be great. Anyway, he told me that as long as they go to a good home, no charge. And I thought that was very generous of him. So we'll be setting up a time to go pick that up, and we'll see what we get. According to my car's thermometer, it's 68 degrees outside. Sunny day. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but today is just beautiful. So it's a nice rainy day. I'm on the boat, and I've been trying to find water on the mast, or leaking through. And I'm not finding any. Now I know it leaks. I've seen the water. And it's frustrating. You know what, I might have, when I adjusted the tarp, I might have actually gotten it right this time. Oh well. So I just left the motor vehicle department. They're having a drop-off area at some of the motor vehicle facilities where you can go in and you prepare your submission, stick it in an envelope, you bring it there, you drop it off during their appointed hours, which are still kind of limited, but something I could work with. Since I'm working from home, I just sort of sneak out to do that, because they don't have a drop-off on Saturday. Although I'm puzzled as to why we can't mail it to the motor vehicle, because I didn't really interact with anyone. I seriously just walked in, a gentleman in there with a mask on pointed at the box, and I put it in the box. I said thank you. He said thank you, have a nice day. And that was the extent of our interaction. So I think we could have done it by mail, but it'd give them time to adjust, because
So what's supposed to happen now is somebody goes through this stuff, and I should get a phone call when they get to my application, and they'll have me pay over the phone using a credit card. I need to pay the sales tax on the boat as well as the registration fees, which are substantial. Well, the registration fees in Connecticut are actually quite reasonable. It's the sales tax that is a little more painful. So I'll follow up when I get the call, and I'll let you know what transpired and how long it was between this moment right now and when they call. And is it resolved during that call, or are there going to be more phone calls? So we'll see. So, what are we doing today? Well, you can see the window behind me. It's a beautiful day outside. 70 degrees. It's Saturday. Tomorrow's supposed to be just as good. And my first thought was, well, all that caulking I wanted to do would be a great time to do it. Everything's going to be dry for 2 days. I rip it apart on Saturday. Even if I mistime everything and can't work it out, I still love Sunday. Well, due to circumstances, nothing to do with viruses or, sheltering in place or anything like that, but due to circumstances that I don't want to get into, I'm staying here today. So this is my garage, and I thought since I can't go to the boat, it would be a good time to knock off some project that I just never seem to get around to when I'm doing boat stuff on the weekends. I never seem to get to it on the weeknights, and that's building the little platform for the staging so that I could stand on it to do the waxing. I'm not going to bore you with a lot of sped up hammering and whatnot. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. This is not a how to do it yourself video series. This is just day in the life of having a boat. It's what it's like to have a boat, things you have to go through, and little ideas here and there of how to make it better. So hopefully I'll get down to the boat tomorrow, and we'll have some better things to show you. Well, hours later, the platform's done. It's long enough to fit on the staging. I only had enough wood to make it 32 inches wide, but that should be plenty wide. I'm just going to stand on it while waxing the side of the boat, etc. Should be great. The only miscalculation I made is I can't fit it in my car. So I'm going to have to borrow Dad's truck, I think, to move this thing down to the shore.
The waterfront, showing signs of activity. I'm not sure why I habitually check these batteries every week, these batteries that I'm going to replace in a couple of weeks, but I just can't help it, I guess. So, standing on the platform, it looks like it'll be the perfect height for working on the hull. So the platform didn't cost me any cash to build it. I built it with what I had already. The staging frame cost $128, and it should last me the rest of my life, or at least up until the day it's stolen. Got the Dodger window back, and it looks beautiful. I love it. And to make things even nicer, he only charged me $100 instead of the $200 he said he was going to charge. From home, I brought the rest of the painting equipment that I have. Doing a bit of a test scrape around the boat to see what paint is loose, how attached barnacles are, etc. Basically assessing how much work it's going to take and to see which one of my kids I can con into doing the said work. This spot looks like a bad cover-up job where a jack stand was. Now when someone asks you, what's more dull than watching paint dry, now you have an answer. Starting at the helm's position for reference, right here is the manual bilge pump. So in my basement I found this rusty old plumber's snake, which I want to use to clean out the tubing for the bilge pump. But I didn't bring the necessary lubricant, and I figured this thing would rip the plastic tubing to shreds. So this project has to wait. Here's a visual reminder of where we are. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the like button, notifications, leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.